Hello, once more, welcome back to Not the Cellar and Not Leopard Street. This is the second part of looking at Dingleberry, my little N-gauge layout here. Last episode we had a little look at the 45 odd minutes it took me to clear the rubbish off the top of it and try and dig things out. A little bit of look at a couple of the locos. Since then I've put rubbish back on it, which I've now taken off again because available flat surface. What we're going to look at today is trying to power this up, seeing if it still works, and have a little bit of a think about what to do with it. So, before I switch it on, let's have a little look at the state of the wiring and a little think about what we've got in here. So, let's go and do that. Okay, so here we are back with the layout. So, to start with, what we've got on the side, far end there, is a mains socket and a switch. Dingleberry was built as a single board. I didn't originally want anything else I had to plug into it to make it work. So sitting under it in that corner there is a 12 volt and a 5 volt AC to DC converter that takes mains and produces DC 5 and DC 12 volts. And if you look at this side here, so this cabling out of the way, there's a panel. Now, over there we've got a green LED for 12 volts and for 5 volts that if the thing powers up properly should come on to say I've got power. There's two below that, DC and DCC, which should tell me which operating mode the layout's in. I believe, if I remember rightly, the DC light comes on if the relay is switched to DC mode, and the DCC light comes on when track power is on, but we'll check that later. And then there's a programming and run mode which indicates the state of a second relay. There's a screen, which I'm hoping will still work. A controller input. This is for the DC mode. Now I don't actually have the controller anymore for this. Basically there's 5 pins in there. It's power, ground, there's a connection line, which I think the idea was you just connect that to 5 volts, and that's what switches that relay. And then it's got a serial connection, because really all it is a handset that goes into the controller underneath the serial port. Then obviously JMRI, CMRI. That, if memory serves, is an RS485 bus connection, but I can't remember. It's been that long since it's been underneath this thing. And then, this is where the problem starts. We come down here, and if we look up here, we've got this hanging down, which is a USB to RS485 serial adapter. This, which is a DTC-2 board. Little bit of something terminating. It's lots of wires hanging down. And the cat. Oi. Spud Puss. What are you doing? Oi. Say hello. Can you say hello? Oi. No, not going to play. Just a pest, aren't you? Anyway, so yeah, there's lots of bits of wire hanging down from underneath this. Now, I'm hoping nothing important has gone adrift, but I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to switch it on. Well, I'm going to plug it in and I'll be back in a second. I'll switch it on and we'll see what happens. Okay, it's now plugged in. So far nothing's gone bang, so what I need to do is reach around here and turn that on. That lights up. Ooh. We have life. A load of point motors have just moved, which is quite interesting. The screen hasn't come on, which makes me wonder if the DCC controller isn't working. That DCC light is on, which is a little bit interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And we're in run mode. So we've powered up. Ooh, wasn't expecting that. Down here, some of the lights are on. There's a little building that's got a little light, and there's a street light lit up as well. And if I just avoid tripping over the cat, turn this light here off, that sort of shows up a bit better. Kill the room light as well, might be a little bit easier to see. There we go. Just Just a little bit of light there. Works quite nicely. Right, well, if that's that, I rather suspect that screen not coming on means the DCC system isn't going to work. However, I am going to plug a lead in. We're going to jump onto the PC and I'm going to see if this thing talks to anything. It might do. Okay, so here we have a plug, and that goes into that one. Ooh, screen's come on. DCC system has booted up. Okay, so that, I thought that powered off the 5-volt bus. Obviously it doesn't. It powers up off the USB. Well, let's jump onto the PC and we'll see what happens. Oi. Meow. Speak. Can you say something? Or are you just going to sit there looking daft? I'm going to take that as sit there looking daft. Okay, so here we are in JMRI. Now I'm using JMRI. I don't need to use JMRI. I could just open the Arduino system up and send this thing commands directly. However, this is probably the easiest way of doing it. Also means we can have a look at how you set DCC++ up. So here we go. I can't get rid of this connection when it's in it. So this is sort of a bit of a legacy one that's here. So you come into here, select your system. As you can see, there's lots and lots of systems available. Goes off the bottom of the screen here, but it goes down to Zemo, ZTC, Sprog, Raspberry Pi Foundation. There's lots of things on here. MQTT, but we want DCC++. There's a few. Now I've had this set up on this one, which is the simulator. Now this means, well, that's exactly what it says. JMRI thinks it's connected to a layout, but it isn't. But now I can connect it to this one. Dingleberry, Leopard Street in the cellar is connected via Ethernet because it connects over Wi-Fi. This one here is on a USB port, so I can do that. Go into serial port, COM4. Connection is going to be D and then DCC++. So we hit save on that and tell that to restart. And then this little box here comes up. Don't save it all. Yes. Give it that. Give it a name. That goes away. JMRI restarts. The layout has just restarted, which is interesting. So what I need to do here is Tools, Throttles. There's no loco set up. Oh, it's going to come out like that, is it? That's fine. So, entry here, there's no loco selected. So I'm going to this tiny little box here and select a loco. I'm going to, well, first off, does track power work? Well, it says it does, but we'll find out in a minute whether it actually works. Right, start my other camera. So watching the layout. So what I need to do is come into here and find a locomotive, and I'm going to go with that class 25, which if I remember rightly is address 250. So what I do is set that. Now the big question is, track power is allegedly on. Will she move? That was a bit anticlimactic. About half a wheel rotation. Excuse me one moment. Yeah, okay, so not the biggest of successes so far. What I'm going to do is clean the track a little bit and then we will try again. So, track rubber. Just clean all this off. Platform does come away, which is useful. If I take that off for a second. Come back there a bit. It is promising, however. There was a little bit of movement. I can see where the platform goes because of all the dust. Which is, yeah, anyway. The train rubber now sitting on platform 2. Right, let's try that again. So, here we go. Track power on. Move it a little bit. Let's try again with a nudge. There we go. A little bit of movement. So, there is a slight problem of this point has set itself to go curved. That one hasn't. But by the look of it, the outside circuit is set for a continuous run. So what I'm going to do is stop her. Yeah. I'm going to do is stop her and transfer her to the other track and see if that helps. I can see the rails changing colour as I run this over them. And that lovely golden colour Pico track goes. And the cat has returned. Hello, what are you doing? Right. Cat's gone away again. Right, let's try again. And back a little bit. I'm actually quite impressed with this. I didn't think this was going to work. Yeah, I'm not going into the tunnel because that's the extent I've cleaned the track. Well, let's just have a little look at 470, which is the other loco we've got here. Similar situation. I think I need to clean some track. Ooh, cat. Hello, cat. Yeah, so these are two very, very old locomotives. And that one's just derailed itself on the point. What's the problem with diesels? Which way's the front? There we go. I don't know whether that's an acceleration and deceleration delay. I think it might be. Yeah, I think I've got the acceleration and deceleration on these set to be quite lengthy. Either that or she's just not very responsive. Yeah, cat. Cat has returned again. It introduces the cat properly later. So that's... yeah. So there we go. As I say, these are quite elderly locomotives. They are both Graham Farish. They're both made in the UK, which should date them quite nicely as the Pool era of stuff. I'm not going to try and run them all the way round, mostly because I know that 47 won't run all the way round, and also because I've not been able to clean the track in the tunnel since I still can't get the lid off. Yeah, the cat trying to get involved again. Yes. So, well, where are we? Well, that's actually working a bit better than I thought it would. trying to do any more with it would require me to set the CMRI system up, and I really can't remember what I set all the settings to on that one. Obviously there's no locos loaded into the roster on here. I do have a programming track, but I can't remember how to activate it. It is one of the outputs on the DCC-EX system. It's actually an Arduino Mega, and they have a whole load of output pins, and you can just set them up as switches. I think you set them up as lights, and then they can be either on or off. I can't quite remember which one it is, however. Let's go back to that 25 and see what we can do with that. It's set, because she is set to go round, so not wanting to, it must be said, but there we go. So let's have another nudge. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to bring these coaches round. And these are all very old as well. These are Lima, sort of referred to them as Mark 1-ish, because, well, they're Mark 1-ish coaches. I mean, they're not brilliantly accurate models, but as with everything else on this little layout, they were cheap. So, if I can get, I just want to see if I can get it to run a little bit more. So I'm going to try and clean a bit more of this outer loop off, because I am actually quite surprised how well this is working. I can't run around on the outer loop. There's wires sitting on top of it at the back. Maybe I can get this out of the way long enough. Yeah, let's give it another quick run at this, and we'll see what I can do. So she's currently set up to run but isn't running. She's starting, but she doesn't know actually. Now this one was normally one of the better runners. You can see all the dust from my fingerprints. I suspect part of the problem here is she's not picking up brilliantly. And because the acceleration and deceleration delays are set. There we go. Back into the platform. There we go. Start going forwards. And we go down there and stop suddenly, which... Now there is an insulating rail join about where she's just stopped, and that makes me suspect a wire has come off somewhere and that section of track is dead. I don't actually have a track tester up here. I'm going to run a little bit better round. Yeah, this is... Forwards, speed up a bit further, come around a bit better. Nothing around there. And... She's actually trying. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to see if she'll do a loop. Probably not. She's got speed set up. Come on, little 25, you know you want to. Put the other coach on the end so that if she does disappear into the tunnel, I've got a chance of grabbing and pulling back or pushing forwards. Come on, you know you want to. There's probably spiders and all sorts under it, to be honest with you. Right, let me just have another go at getting this top piece off. Just want to watch where that goes, because obviously it's got wires on it, which I don't necessarily want connecting to the power. That comes out. This lifts, hopefully, all the way. There we go. Right, so that's top of the layout off. And all that's under here is just a loop of track. There isn't really anything else down here. Track rubber around. There's quite a bit of dirt down here. Let's see if she'll go again. A little bit. Ooh, can we do a complete loop? She needs cleaning a bit more. Yeah, let's try. Clean this bit off, and then this bit over here will need cleaning again, which is moved. Also very noisy. Now this one's the 5-pole motor, apparently. I'm sort of hoping if she runs round a bit, she might actually be able to make a complete circuit. You never know. We'll find out. Stalling on that bit again. And what we've got here is that lovely smell that old electrical motors produce. The ozone as the various greases and whatnot burn off. Yeah, man, little train, you know you want to. So if I crank the speed up a little bit, maybe it'll work a bit better. So we're now set for full speed. Full speed ahead. And not a torpedo in sight. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the 47 on the front of this in a sec and just see if we can go a bit better. Go with that. Oh, nearly running. Yeah, let's put the other loco on. The thinking being the 47 has more wheels picking up, so may run a little bit better. Yes, have a go. So release that, come over here, 470, set. Give it the correct direction. And see what happens. Get in there. Just trying. Very trying. See how well she does. I've got a very curious kitten wandering about on the floor trying to work out what the noise is. Oh, we're going to get a complete loop. I think we are. This isn't full speed. This is full speed, if you can tell the difference. Yes, so this is dingleberry. Without the ability to set the points, I can't really run much more of it. But as you can see, what we've got is the little parcel station, as I said. This line forms part of the Inglewood. It's actually a passing loop as well, but it can be used as just a dead end road for shunting around with. And it was done so I could get trains out of the way. Loco depot, fueling road down here with a little head shunt to get into it. The idea was there was eventually going to be a fuel point over here. Down here was going to be the fuel tanks. I have got some tanker wagons somewhere for this. A shed road, which is actually meant to be possibly a little bit longer than that, because there is up here. Not sure what it is that just fell off the top of this. We'll see. 3D printed something. There is the other half of the shed which sits there. As memory serves, it was set up so it came out the end like that originally. And then there were going to be some offices and other bits and pieces down here, a car park and what have you. Coach stabling sidings, really just so I had somewhere to put some stock out of the way. Like I said, the purpose of this was originally a test layout. I could get some stock, I could run it in, I could find out whether it worked. This 47's going quite nicely now, she's warmed up a little bit. We'll see how long she lasts, because memory serves, the magnet's not brilliant. She sort of starts gasping after a little while. It looks quite good. It obviously, the track got painted, ballasting started but didn't finish. I never got around to painting the ballast on this one. And the scenic back end was sort of going in a little bit. You can see my sort of very crude attempts at the back scene. Dark grey in the hidden area so that there wouldn't be much light there. But yeah, this is basically as far as I got. This loop is quite reliable. The problems come with the points. They don't switch power very well. These ones aren't too bad. But we're going. So yeah. The future. I think I am going to have a little bit experiment further. I'm a bit off camera, but I'm going to try and get the point motor system working. It's similar to what I'm using downstairs. It's servos. It's the same servo control software. This runs on Arduinos rather than the ESP32s, and it's not controlled via MQTT. This, let's say, it's a serial bus controlling this. But there we go. So the question is, what do you think? How much is it worth trying to salvage this and get it working? I suspect getting it working properly means starting again, but it's mostly second-hand track, which is part of the problem. Some of the points are newer, some of the points in the depot area are brand new ones. There's a point over here which I don't think that's a problem. If memory serves, that one doesn't work very well, and neither does the crossover at the other end. But there we are. So yes, thoughts, comments welcome. But this is where the recent generation of my railway hobby started. And interestingly, the lights have gone out at the end. Is that in C? Shot? Yeah. Yes, the lights down here have gone out. So I suspect what's happened is when the layout fires up, the board switches them on, but as soon as it starts getting commands from the DCC system, it goes no and turns them off. But yeah, so there we are. Anyway, that is my N-gauge layout dingleberry. Yeah, there's one other thing I've got to show at this point in time. I'll just take that off there. Excuse my fingers. Yeah, the cat. This one is technically named Smudge. Practice also known as Cat. Sometimes other cat, depending if the other one's about. She's in here trying to work out what the noise is. Yeah. Anyway. So that's that. So, thank you very much for watching. As usual, likes, comments, shares, yada yada yada, more than welcome. I say, and this was the part 2 of the 1,000 subscriber special. Looking back in time a little bit at something that, to my great amazement, actually still works. So, yeah. I will catch you all in the next one, where we'll be back in the cellar looking. I think I've got some stuff on building lighting coming up. But we shall see. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye.